Nell and Chris, they always talk about how, they don't take sides. But now here she is being disrespectful. And this is like a point of her taking Melody's side because she's always pointing the finger, like, Martell, you destroyed your family. You cheated on your wife and things like that. No, that. Melody, she cheated too. I made no say in my marriage. You know what I'm saying? I did. She did. She cheated. I cheated.
Hold on, excuse me.
See,
I'm sorry, stop right there. Tell me when I cheated and who and where?
The apartment.
The apartment? Let's talk about the apartment. In March of 2017, I found out is using time that we would agree for me to take as a mother, wife, business owner, just the time to steal away. I hate that he's trying to use that to make it seem as if I was meeting men at hotels. What a way to project. Projection is real, because we all know what you was doing.
Mel has
when it seems like things aren't going well for me. And I think that's because that makes him feel like if she doesn't do well, she'll come back. If she can't provide for herself, she'll come back. So, Melody is not coming back.
Martell Holt and Melody Sherry's story has always been one of love, ambition, betrayal, and unfinished truth. But now, things have reached a new level. The whispers about exposed tapes, hidden secrets, and the truth behind their painful breakup are spreading faster than ever. What's being said behind the scenes could change everything the public thought they knew about this once power couple from Love and Marriage, Huntsville. Because if what Martell has hinted at is real, then the picture of their past might not be as one-sided as fans once believed. For years, the world has painted Martell Holt as the man who lost it all, the husband who cheated, the businessman who let pride destroy his empire, and the father trying to repair his image. Melody, on the other hand, became the symbol of strength and survival. A woman who walked through public humiliation and came out shining brighter than ever. But behind that picture-perfect storyline, there's another layer that's now coming to light. Martell has begun hinting that there's more to their breakup than the world knows. That some truths were buried, some stories edited, and some secrets hidden in plain sight. And if these so-called exposed tapes are real, then they might reveal that the cracks in their marriage ran both ways. People close to Martell say he's been holding on to receipts for years. That while he's been called out for his mistakes, he's also kept quiet about the parts of their relationship that could shake the internet if revealed. Some even claim he's recorded conversations, saved messages, and kept voice notes that show Melody wasn't always the victim she appeared to be. Whether those recordings actually exist is still uncertain, but the very idea that Martell might have proof of Melody's private actions has reignited the drama all over again. To understand how it got to this point, you have to go back to the beginning, to when Martell and Melody were Huntsville's golden couple. They built everything together, a company, a brand, and a public image that seemed unbreakable. They were young, attractive, and ambitious, the type of couple that reality TV producers dream of. Together, they launched Holt & Holt Enterprises, built a strong construction business, and became local stars long before national fame arrived. Melody was the visionary, the strategist, the woman who knew how to turn every project into a story. Martell was the builder, confident and charming, the face of their growing empire. But behind the scenes, their marriage wasn't as perfect as it looked. While Melody was managing the brand and expanding into new ventures, Martell began to feel overshadowed. He had the skills, but she had the spotlight. And in the world of business and fame, that kind of imbalance can turn love into quiet resentment. It was around this time that the tension began to build, and eventually, that tension exploded into one of the biggest scandals Huntsville had ever seen. Martell's affair changed everything. When the news broke, it shattered the perfect image they had worked so hard to create. Fans were outraged, and Melody became the face of female empowerment, the woman who chose herself over a broken marriage. She rebuilt her life, her brand, and her future, all while raising her children and creating a legacy on her own. But even as she rose to new levels of success, Martell never truly disappeared. He stayed in the picture, sometimes quietly, sometimes loudly, and always with that same confident look that said, "You don't know everything yet." And now, with talk of these exposed tapes, people are beginning to wonder what Martell really means when he says, "The truth always comes out." According to people close to him, Martell has been claiming that there were things Melody did during the later years of their marriage that the public doesn't know about. He's hinted that there were messages, late-night calls, and emotional connections that went beyond simple friendship. While no one knows if any of it will ever be released, just the idea of these so-called tapes has thrown fans into a frenzy. If Martell really has recordings or evidence of Melody's private conversations, it could cause serious damage to her reputation. But it also raises the question, why now? Why would Martell choose this moment to speak out or even hint at something so explosive? Some believe it's revenge. Others say it's a desperate attempt to take back control of the narrative. Because for years, Martell has been painted as the villain while Melody was celebrated as the survivor. But if there's even a hint of truth in what Martell is suggesting, then the story becomes far more complicated than fans ever expected. What makes this situation even deeper is how intertwined their lives still are. They share children, a public platform, and a fan base that has watched every chapter of their rise and fall. Their lives are no longer just personal, they're public property. Every argument, every post, every rumor becomes a headline. And as both continue to grow their individual brands, the competition between them hasn't gone away. In fact, it might be stronger than ever. After the divorce, Melody built her empire piece by piece. Her music career grew, her business ventures flourished, and her message of strength inspired thousands of women who saw their own struggles in hers. But what fans didn't see was that some of Martell's success after the split might have been quietly built on the foundation they once shared. From business contacts to marketing strategies, many of the same systems Melody helped create were still benefiting Martell long after their separation. And that's where the story gets tangled. Because as Melody kept building forward, Martell began rebuilding his image too, not through apology, but through strategy. He launched new businesses, appeared at public events, and slowly started presenting himself as a reformed man. Yet, the timing of his new ventures always seemed to match Melody's biggest moves. When she released a new brand, he announced a new product. When she expanded her image into lifestyle branding, he stepped into the wine business, promoting himself as a symbol of sophistication. It wasn't just coincidence. Many fans began noticing that his approach, from branding to social media tone, seemed to mirror Melody's blueprint. The same confidence, the same "I'm building something new" energy, even the same type of photos and captions. It looked like Martell was following a path Melody had already cleared. But now, with these new rumors about exposed tapes, Martell might be trying to rewrite that narrative again to remind people that he wasn't the only one making mistakes behind closed doors. The whispers about these tapes started when Martell made a few cryptic comments online, saying that one day the truth would come out and that not everything was as it seemed. Some fans thought he was just bitter. Others began to wonder if he was holding something back. And as more insiders began leaking small hints saying Martell had evidence of private conversations between Melody and another man, the story exploded across social media. But before anyone could verify anything, the debate began. Should Martell even release such private information if it exists? What would it prove? And most importantly, would it change anything? Because at the end of the day, both Martell and Melody are more than their mistakes. They're people who built a life together, lost it publicly, and are now trying to survive in a world that won't let them forget. Still, the emotional tension between them remains. Every time they appear on screen together, you can feel the history, the pain, the pride, the unfinished words. Martell often speaks as though he's misunderstood, like the world only knows half of his story. Melody, on the other hand, stands firm in her silence, choosing to let her success do the talking. That contrast, his frustration and her calm, keeps fans locked in, watching for the next sign of truth to break through. But let's be clear, if there really are tapes, messages, or recordings, they could destroy the fragile peace that still exists between them. They could reopen wounds that both have tried to heal and reshape public opinion in unpredictable ways. Because while the world loves a redemption story, it also loves a scandal, and this one could be the biggest yet. Behind closed doors, both Martell and Melody have their supporters and their critics. Some say Martell has every right to defend himself after years of being attacked. Others say revenge disguised as truth is still revenge. What no one can deny is that both of them have built their lives under the heaviest public pressure imaginable. Every move they make is watched, analyzed, and judged. As the rumors continue to grow, Martell's next steps could determine everything: his reputation, his future business deals, and his relationship with his children. If he chooses to reveal anything, he risks not only Melody's image but his own. Because once private information hits the public, there's no turning back. The same audience that once cheered for him could turn against him again in a heartbeat. And for Melody, the risk is just as heavy. She's built her brand on strength, honesty, and faith. Any scandal, even one that's exaggerated or misunderstood, could shake that image. It could blur the lines between her private pain and public power. And that's exactly why this moment feels so fragile. One wrong move, one leaked recording, one out-of-context clip, and everything could change. For now, both sides are silent. Martell continues to post confidently, attending events and talking about his growth, while Melody keeps building her empire and avoiding the noise. But silence doesn't erase tension. It only makes it louder. Fans are watching, waiting, and guessing what will happen next. The truth, though, might be simpler than it seems. Maybe there are no tapes. Maybe Martell is just using the idea of them to remind people that he still has a voice in the story. Or maybe there really is something deeper, something that shows their marriage had more secrets than anyone ever realized. Either way, the impact is already being felt. Conversations about love, betrayal, and power are happening all over again, and once more, Martell and Melody are at the center of it. Their story has always been bigger than a TV show. It's about two people who built something together, tore it apart, and are still trying to find their place in its shadow. If these so-called exposed tapes ever see the light of day, they might finally answer the questions fans have been asking for years, or they might create 100 more. Because when truth and revenge mix, the result is never simple. It's messy, emotional, and unforgettable, just like their story. And that's why this chapter feels so heavy. Martell's reputation is hanging by a thread, Melody's image stands in the balance, and the world is waiting to see if the next headline will finally reveal what's been hidden all along. Until then, one thing is certain, in the world of Martell Holt and Melody Sherry, nothing stays buried forever.